Welcome. In this section, we're going to walk through how to download and run market replay data. So first things first, open your NinjaTrader. Make sure you don't have any workspaces open and make sure that you're connected to your data source. To download replay data, all you have to do is go to File, Utilities, Download Replay Data, and then select the instrument and the day that you wish to download. So in this case, I'll do Monday, April 1st. And I'll say OK, and then you're going to see down here on the bottom right, it's going to be downloading the data. And then you can repeat this process for each of the days of the week for last week. So I'll do that real quick. I'll go to File, Utilities, Download Replay. Make sure you select the right date. So I'll get this done, and then we'll show you what to do next. Now, if for some reason you've cleaned out your data before you do replay, you need to make sure you've got historical tick data. So just go in and build a chart, 14.2 dynamic Renko, that's fine, and just put 45 days. And you don't have to load any indicators, you don't have to do anything to it. Essentially what you're doing is you're just building or bringing in the historical tick data for the last 45 days. So that way, when we open up Market Replay and we build a chart for last week, we're going to have 30 days worth of historical tick data. So again, depending on your internet connection speed, this will take a second. If you've already been running your data and you didn't wipe out or clean your data out, then you don't really have to do this. Now, once that's done, we're ready to go in and actually set up Market Replay. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to disconnect from your real data source. And then you're going to hit File, or click, I guess, left click, File, Connect to Market Replay Connection. Now it's going to bring up this little play bar for you. And what you want to do before anything else, if you've got a bunch of days downloaded, you want to make sure that you're actually on the day that you wish to replay. So in this case, we're going to do April 1st. Once you have downloaded the data, once you've connected to the data, and then you've set which day you want to start playing, then you have to rebuild your charts. And again, we advise rebuilding your charts versus open a workspace because it gives you really, really consistent results with the indicators. So to build your charts, again, if you don't remember, File, New Chart. Obviously, we're going to do crude oil in this situation. You can shortcut down here under the session template, just hit DD, and that'll give you 24/7. And then we're going to apply the 14.2. Let me bring this up for you guys so you can see a little bit here. So again, 14.2 chart. We're going to make sure we have 30 days back, and we're going to make sure that we're default 24/7. And then we're going to hit this drop-down menu, and you're going to select the 14.2 Renko chart template. And then you'll say OK, and what that will do is it will build your chart for you. Takes half a second here. And again, depending on the speed of your machine, this could take a little bit longer than what you're seeing here. So again, just kind of depends on your machine. All right, so once you have your first chart, and again, here's, I'm going to give you some suggestions to kind of start off with. And then you can kind of roll from, this, because there's really 3 levels of market replay that you're going to be doing. The initial market replay is just getting a feel for the indicators. So what I would like for you to do is just take one chart of a 14.2 chart, and then I would like for you to build a 5-1, which is basically your entry chart for trend trades. And you're going to do the same thing, 5-1, 30 days back. And again, I do this so quick, sometimes I forget to talk about it. If you hit DD, it'll give you default 24/7 session template. We want to see all 24 hours worth of data. And then we want to go down here and select our 5-1 Renko chart. And then once this chart builds, then we're going to be ready to do market replay data. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to... All right, so again, just to recap, 14.2 chart, 5-1 chart on the left. Now, what I want to do is I want to give you a little bit of a plan. Think about this. On our education page, Obviously, we want you to watch this trading plan video. We want you to learn about the indicators. But again, when we're in the live class, we spend a lot of time talking about the trading plan. And more importantly, we spend an awful lot of time talking about fibs and trigger lines from our 5-1, 14-2 charts. And this is really what I want you guys to focus in on when you're doing market replay in the beginning. I want you to stare at the 14-2 chart, and I want you to make sure that you're really focusing in on when the small trigger lines transition below the large synthetic triggers and the other triggers. I want you to really focus in on the 14-2 chart when you have a number one look where we have the small triggers well below all the others. And I want you to focus in on the 5-1 and the 14-2 chart when we have a weakening look. Because obviously when we weaken the triggers, the 5-1 chart has a lot more play. It's a little more powerful. And again, how does the market transition? How does the market pull back? What were the trigger lines looking like? Because ultimately, when you're watching the market live, and this is really kind of anybody can go back and go, oh, you could have bought there, right? Everybody can do that. You have to be able to see in real time the trigger lines, the fibs break, the fibs change colors, the mid-band change colors, where are the trigger lines, and know 100% for sure, without a doubt, that this area is going to be the spot where you're looking for your trend trade on your 5-1 chart. So again, you're going to, these are the pictures that we have in the plan, but look over here on the left. See how your trigger lines, even though you had resistance and you had divergence and the small triggers never transition below your large triggers, synthetic triggers, and the market actually went higher. And then when you put in divergence at resistance and the trigger lines did transition below, we actually did follow all the way through. And then ultimately when, we break Fibonacci resistances and what's the look of the triggers and the fibs, these are all the looks that we want for you guys to study when you're doing market replay. That's kind of the purpose. So again, look, when we look at our chart on the left, you can see pretty easily, right? Small triggers got above all of our other triggers here, and then the market went up, and and then we have some opportunities for trend trades over here. And again, when you look at that little circle on the left side, it looks obvious after the fact, doesn't it? Number one trigger line look, should have gone long. Well, what you need to start watching on this market flow is, where did that happen from? What lines were on the chart with blue fibs and green mid bands and white dotted 165 EMAs? Where were my fib to fib oscillator? What color was the background? What was going on? What happened in the middle of the trade? And then ultimately, with that look on the big chart, where do we go? Because you have to be able to study the look, and then you have to be able to see the look forming, and then you have to know what you're going to do. So again, it's really easy to say, oh, you should have bought here. But you have to really start attaching meaning, to this look right here. What does this look mean when you look at the small chart? And where are you going to get in? And why are you going to get in? And why is the market going to go down here? So again, look, when we start off replay, don't worry about trading. You don't have to be a trader yet. You have to be a watcher, right? Because you have to be able to spot the right pattern. So all I really want you to do, and I downloaded a whole week's worth of data, so we can go from 4.1 all the way to 4.5, is look, just hit the play button. Okay, make sure if your charts are like this or you've got a little F up here, you hit that F. And then look, over here on the right with this play button, you can go 2-3 times speed, you can go 15 times speed, you can go 20 times speed. And I'll put it at like 30 times speed right now, which, again, early in the morning is pretty good. And again, I don't want you to do anything on your first run of the week. I don't want you to trade. Don't have that pressure of trying to trade, because in the beginning, you're not really trying to be a trader. you're trying to learn the patterns and understand what the trigger lines are doing. And again, look, if it's really slow, you can always speed this up to 100 times speed or 200 times speed. Usually at about 3 o'clock in the morning, that's when the London session opens. So if you want to go 300 times speed until you get closer to 3 o'clock, and then what I need you to do when you want it to slow down, just hit the play button one more time. It'll start you over at 1. And then, obviously you don't want to sit here for 92 hours, of course. So that's the whole point of replay, is to get it up to 40 or 50 times speed. Because look, if you do 50 times speed, essentially every minute you're looking at an hour's worth of data or 50 minutes worth of data. So, again, I don't want you to trade. I want you to look at your chart and go, we're going up. And I want you to say, we're going up. And, if we're going up, could I buy or could I have bought? And then ultimately, really what I want for you guys is to say, what caused the ultimate turnaround in this market? Did the triggers get weak? Did they get inside? Did we start having divergences on our smaller chart? If we have divergence on our smaller chart, like this, how far down do we go? Do we stop at the first little blue Fibonacci support, or do we make it to a much farther away support closer to the 14.2 reversal bar? And again, I'll make it go a little bit quicker here. And again, when you guys watch this, I don't want you to necessarily think trading right off the bat. I just want you to watch a couple of things. I want you to watch the Fibonacci areas. I want you to watch the trigger lines. And I want you to also watch, how far away, the synthetic trigger lines over here on the big chart are. Because, again, when we talk about things in the market, like, if we were to hit resistance up here and we had a big gap, right? So, again, let me get rid of this box here. But you'll see this. Notice how it looks after the fact, right? So here, watch. I'll pause it. Everybody can say, well, after the fact, you should have bought somewhere over here at your fibs and midbands. So I want you to really just get repetition and see that. And again, don't worry about trading. What I want you to do, if you do have time, you could always pause it and just put a circle on, let me get a circle. So Control F11, you can put a circle on something that looks like this, right? See that tail? And you can double click on your circle and make sure it's attaching to all charts. And then you can set that to default. So you can go back and study, after you play through a whole week. Instead of trading, you can just go back and look. Now, what do you see on the big chart? One of those big pink divergence lines. And we went one tick above it. Well, what's supposed to happen if we get above one of those little divergence lines? Right? Those are the little areas where the market has a tendency to reverse. So again, I want you to watch. How did it reverse? Did it reverse? Did it break through that area? And if you put a big top in, you can always draw in a big circle. And, if you break through an area, what happens when you have 4 triggers that break through an area, which we spend a lot of time talking about, right? Did we continue higher? Did we not continue higher? When did the small triggers roll over? Notice now we've got inside small triggers over here. And again, we're going to get one more push to the upside, probably because it's strong to the upside. But then, you'll start to see these trends start to weaken where you'll have divergence, the midband will cause a bounce, and then ultimately a second divergence will cause the market to reverse to the downside. And we'll go down to 60.45. And again, when you see this happen and you see it unfold live, the more you see it, the better you're going to get at doing a trade or maybe not doing a trade and saying, okay, I saw where that midband might bounce, but I could also see where it might go down. And again, when we get down to the areas on our bigger chart, what's going to happen? What are the synthetic triggers doing? Are they crossed up? Are they crossed down? Did my small triggers stay above them? Did my small triggers not stay above them? And basically, you're just watching and you're just getting a feel for the patterns and you're getting a feel for the indicators. And really what I want you to do is a whole week of this. Just since we've been sitting here talking for a few minutes, we're already at 7 o'clock. So, we're at 7 o'clock on a Monday. And again, if it starts going too fast, you can always hit the play button and then you can slow it down. You get in between that, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning Eastern time and noon, you may slow it down to 20 times since that's our busy time. And then after 12 o'clock Eastern time, you can go ahead and speed it back up again because it usually starts slowing down. So again, notice where the small triggers are, below the large triggers, and notice, what's going to happen. And again, just continue to pay attention. And then look, here's what I want you to do on your second run. So again, go through, maybe even watch a week, 2 weeks worth, and you'll start to see the patterns of the fibs and the trigger lines and where the trend trades are going to be. And then once you've completed enough of the tutorials, on the education page, you've read through the plans enough, you've watched the videos for the trading plan, you've watched the videos for the trend trades enough, then go back and start playing it at maybe a 10 times speed or a 5 times speed, 10 or 20 until you get to a trade, and then slow it down, and then start practicing your trading. So again, in the beginning, I think the most beneficial use for you guys is going to be you just watching the market and getting a feel for the indicators, and really just with 2 charts, keep it simple. 99% of what we do is based on what the large chart says. So if the large chart is in a very favorable look for longs, then we'll look for long trades on our small chart. If the large chart is very favorable for shorts, we'll look for short trades on our smaller chart. If the large chart's not favorable for anything, which again is another thing that you're going to have to watch, then you have to be able to recognize that chop, and this is where tops and bottoms and trading the edges is going to come in very handy. So again, play the market through, maybe 30 times speed during the, 6 a.m. to noon hour. Speed it up ahead, and then, the next day, starting at about 3 o'clock, you can slow it down again. So again, watching first. Once you've watched the whole week, then if you've got time and you've been through the rules, go back and start trading. Save pictures. If you're going to do a trade on the market, for whatever reason, let's just say you're going to go short. Right? I want you to save the picture. So right click on your data series and put text and marker on there. And again, that way, and you could do this actually on both of your charts because the templates by default don't have them. So here, bear with me 2 seconds. And again, obviously that's not the right trade to be doing right there, but you get the idea. Fibonacci resistance is going to be a better spot. Anyway, I want you to have the text and markers on your chart. I want you to actually start doing trades. I want you to take pictures. And again, once you've done this, and you can go back and say, wow, did I do the right trades? Did I do the wrong trades? Was it a better trade to, sell a double top with a pivot stop out? And then ultimately, where does that trade go to? Does it go down? Does it go up? Do I lose? If I sell at support, not following the rules, what happens? If I sell at resistance, following the rules, what happens? And you can see, as you work your way through weeks and weeks and weeks of this, you'll get a very good feel of, not only what the market does, but what you're going to do with your trading as well. And that's really what it boils down to. You being comfortable enough with the read of your software that you can do the trades. Now, one of the other things that you can do, if you're on simulator and it's too messy and you're starting over, you can go to Tools, Options, Simulator, And again, you can reset your simulator. So if you're on market replay, watch. You can reset it. And now all those trades are gone and you can just start over. And that's it, really. The first things first, you're going to watch it. You're going to learn the rules. You're going to learn the videos. And then ultimately, you're going to go back. And of course, it takes a lot more time to do the trading on it. But then you're going to trade it. You're going to take pictures. And, again, this is where, for you guys, this is where the education is going to come from. Trading plan, the indicators, trade rules first, do the trades, do market replay, and then ultimately you'll be ready to start trading live in the market. If you have any questions, just let us know. We'll be more than happy to help you out. And we'll look forward to helping you guys really get the most out of your software. You don't have to trade at high speed. So, again, when you start seeing the same patterns over and over and over and pivot stop outs over and over and over, this is really going to become second nature to you. And that's when day trading is going to get easy. So, I appreciate your time. Let us know if you have any questions, and we'll get you started here as soon as we can. We'll get you in class. Save your pictures. If you do market replay trades and you have questions about these trades during replay, bring them to class. That's what the class is for. The class is not for me to just call the market or talk. The class is really so you can say, did I do this trade correct based on the read of my large chart and a pivot stop out short on my small chart. And when you realize, hey, I did the rules right, and not only if you do the rules right, what's the outcome of the trade? Were you able to make money with that trade, and were you able to manage that trade properly and appropriately? So again, there's a lot of pieces to learning our software, which I very much respect. So again, use these tools. They're here for your help. They will really, really, really give you, literally you can get a month's worth of trading in less than a weekend. And if you do that, you're going to really speed up your own learning curve. So I'll let you go. We'll see you guys in class. Do a lot of market replay. Save your pictures, and we'll see you guys soon.